All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Noragami, Season 2, Episode 12. We are getting close to the end of this show. Oh, man.
Bishamon has just been a badass and just
Bishamon,
jumped
you
right in
beautiful
to save.
badass.
Yep. She's saving Yato, doing what she can at the very least. It might be a bit of a standstill, though, in that she is not able to actually
defeat the Queen of the Underworld.
Yeah, exactly.
But Yato did start to struggle. You know, it's possible that this could work.
It's possible that in this case, Bishamon is giving enough of a distraction that Yato might be able to basically add his own efforts to the mix here. But Ebisu has a plan, a way that is a something that a human from the near shore might be able to help Yato.
And I hope that this is something that does not involve any significant amount of danger for HIYORI, but...
Or at the very least, no memory loss.
No memory loss, no sacrificing yourself, no remaining in the underworld.
It's going to be a sacrifice of some kind. There's got to be some kind of sacrifice. There has to be a cost to it. The question, though, is that why is it a human rather than a
regalia or whatever?
Or a god?
I'm hoping that it just has to do with some element of like an earnest prayer or something.
Something about
that would be awesome.
A believer in Yato. That would be really cool. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Guys, the scale! The scale! This went up to crazy levels of power. And
this one goes up to 11.
Yeah, and then the emotional core of it in that HIYORI was calling Yato's name. And
because Yato is his name, damn it.
Yato is his name. But what I think might have happened here, and we're probably going to get an explanation as to what happened afterwards, but it feels like she determined that Yato was his name, so something granted her the knowledge as to what his real name was by the belief that Yato was his real name.
So what I think it was is that she was doing studying, right? Yes. And she had read up on a bunch of stuff, so she had theoretically already seen the name.
Correct.
She just didn't know which one was his actual name.
And probably then, she was able to hone in on the memory of the specific name.
Right. She was able to hone in on the memory of it, but then also because I think it's something where because of how much she knows about Yato and how much she cares about Yato and things like that, she got a moment of clarity while thinking about like the specific way that his name is written, and then taking that and then being like, wait, no, there's something similar. I get why he chose the name Yato compared to like why he chose it, and if he chose it, then I know why he chose it, then I know what his I can figure out what his original name was.
And you're a genius, HIYORI, because that's fantastic.
That was like some Summer Wars do it in your head kind of shit right there.
Right.
So awesome. Love it, and it holds
this bastard.
Yep, exactly. Fantastic. But then we get the other problem.
Yeah, you know. So there's a god that shows up that seems to be making a bit of a big deal out of this whole thing with the Punishers of Heaven, which I think that this god that showed up here is the same one that's been kind of gung-ho about really making sure that Ebisu gets punished in the colloquies.
They did show at the very end of the episode, they did show a little bit of the lower part of his face, and the facial structure does seem similar to the one in the colloquy that was the most like gung-ho about everything.
Let me focus in on this bit here where we get to see.
Yeah, see, because we see him smirk, and he's got that sort of like narrow face, like narrow chin, or not narrow chin, but like narrow face.
Yeah, hairless,
wide chin.
You know, in terms of like beard and mustache or anything like that. But has that kind of like eternally young kind of face where it's like someone that could look like they're 25 or something, but they're actually,
4,000
3,500 or something.
Yeah.
But
also, we got a bit of the hair, so black, navy blue sort of hair.
Oh, actually,
but
that's a good point. Is that the hair or is that the outfit?
I believe that's the hair.
It could be the collar.
It could be. No, it looks like it goes up to the chin line by the ear. Now, granted, we don't see the color of the hair in the colloquy. But we can get the general shape, right? We know that
the god had long hair.
The god had long hair. That's what this god seems to have. And I totally get like the whole aesthetic of everything. By the way, like. Because as far as the the mechanics of kind of what happened, right? You have Heaven show up, right? We haven't seen Heaven. Yeah, long hair for the guy in the god in the colloquy, and also the chin has that same kind of width at the bottom. Yeah. So probably the same guy. But
the personal touch to it means that this guy's not necessarily just a god, but potentially like a really important god, and maybe even
everything that maybe like Yato's dad and things like that. But regardless, there was a lot of the reasons that they gave that just stunk, right? Like they reeked of hypocrisy, right?
Yes.
Which makes sense if you have a bunch of gods who don't have to answer to anybody. Then who's to hold them accountable, especially when they show up all anonymous and whatnot, right?
Right.
So that makes me really excited for potential conflicts in the future with potentially going to war with Heaven and all that stuff. But the way that the gods sort of showed up, right? Because we haven't fully seen Heaven doing any big movements, right? Up till now, like we've seen little things of them sending people here and there and whatnot.
Yeah, we can tell how big they must be.
Right? But we haven't seen big organized movements, really. Like this. So, and given that this is something that within the span of the episode ends up getting defeated in a time, as far as time is concerned, relatively quickly by Yato and everybody, selling us on the aesthetic of everything, and that yes, this is Heaven. It is awesome. It is terrifying, and it's all of the above, right?
Right.
They are here to smite, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Like, it is usually very hard for me to get excited about an organization in a story,
especially the antagonistic organization.
Especially the antagonistic organizations, and especially if it's just based on the visuals.
Right. It's because it's impersonal.
It's impersonal, right? And given that that there's like it might trigger the justice button because they're doing you're doing a taboo, even though it's fairly common knowledge that plenty of gods use Noras,
Right.
That's not exactly something to make me excited about this organization, whether in the positive or negative as far as excitement goes, right?
Totally.
So the fact that they show up and they've got like the hoods over their faces and everything like that, and the drums and like the swords that they all channel into the big symbol in the sky.
They stand on top of clouds.
Yep, golden clouds that come in with,
They don't lower themselves to fight on Earth. Even.
Exactly. Like I love that. Things, it just oozes style and tantalizes my imagination with what will come from this in the future, right?
Yep. And then the music.
Super cool, yeah. And then the music definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But like, because I could see it being something where you give this grand entrance, and if the entrance isn't grand enough, then when they get defeated, beat back with, relative ease. Now, granted, our heroes
in terms of the time of the episode.
In terms of the time of the episode, right? Because our heroes are awesome. Imperial regalia, that's a very big thing.
Which we didn't really know fully what it meant.
Right, or how big it was.
Yep, exactly.
That could theoretically make the antagonistic force seem less serious, right?
Less threatening.
Yeah. Not the case here, right? Yep. They beat him back, awesome, but I am so stoked to see what happens next.
Yeah, because they keep having another thing that's basically prepped and in their arsenal.
Yep.
So the idea of the pacification ring just hitting so close to Ebisu and being that close that it missed, and then bringing up the mechanic of if you're pure of heart, then it will miss.
And it's like, well, that's bullshit because you just missed and you're firing again.
Right, which is interesting because I almost wonder if that's a thing of where they're following their own protocol of like, no, we fire and we missed, but we're going to give it a double check to make sure that this is legit. So I'm actually wondering if what they did...
Putting the witch in the lake, you didn't die? Your magic is keeping you alive. Oh, you drowned? Well, then that means that the magic finally left you.
Yeah, so because you were a witch. Yeah,
because
exactly.
you were a witch. Yeah, you were deemed unworthy, whatever.
So what that makes me think is that there's going to be the whole thing of after this, they'll get beaten back. Ebisu will probably die or be taken to heaven in some way. But then there's going to be the investigative group in heaven that's like, apparently the use of a pacification ring was enacted, but heaven didn't authorize that.
Sure.
There's ways in which they can have it be like, no. We were going to bring Ebisu in for judgment and take him into the what do they call it? The burial, the corpse shrine or something like that.
Or the void shrine.
Crypt shrine, yeah. And I was like, oh, that actually doesn't seem that bad. That was my thing of like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then it was the don't resist while we smite you. Oh no, you resisted. Well, then we can drop the big Death Star laser.
Right? Yeah,
no problem.
It's totally bullshit, but that's the kind of thing where that means you just need some pierce the heavens, row fight the power. Good old fashioned
dual bladed Yukine and Yato.
Yep.
Yes, rend it all. I love it,
and I am very excited for that. Just maybe catapult Kofuku up there while you're at it, and just have her.
I think Kofuku has a little bit low on the combat abilities. And we got to remember that.
Yeah.
And she might just
long-term utility,
and
stoke
the chaos. But I love that this is all being led by Bishamon, who, as of really recently. Was just becoming basically allied and friends with Yato and company. Thus, this moment being her kind of other follow-up on the character development that she understands not just who Yato is really, but why Yato did what he did and is willing to literally defend him against heaven's judgment.
Yep.
I mean, that's just...
While standing, chin to toe in plate armor,
channeling her regalia's powers into each other so that freaking Kazuma can smite back the Thunder Dragon with his borderlines.
Just grabs up
because of the whip crack basically being able to extend his range.
That was some freaking
that was so cool.
That was old school Attack of the Clones, Mace Windu crushing ships, kind of stuff right there. The fact that that's the kind of stuff that can be so cheesy if you're not sold on it, right?
Well, it's because of how wonderful of a character Kazuma is.
And and Kazuma, he's our boy, right? So it's but this was all so awesome and so crazy and just so now I feel like I'm really starting to get why people are like, we need season 3. No, you don't understand. We don't want season 3.
We need it. Yeah.
Need it.
I got you. Yeah. Hiyori being able to call Yato's name and it being the thing of her actually writing the name and stuff like that, I think is wonderful. I really do like that despite it being something that came really close to the kind of Deus Ex Machina territory and stuff like that, it's something that felt really, really in line with the themes of the story and the idea that this is ultimately about Yato being remembered. But the difference between just being remembered and being like, yeah, that guy cleaned my bathtub, that was really helpful. It's the difference between that and someone knowing you better in some ways than you've been even willing to communicate to them.
Sure, and maybe better than you know yourself.
Yeah, I'm not going to make that leap there. But I'm trying to bring up the point here in that Hiyori knew him so well, not just in the studying aspect there, that she then called his name and then was able to deduce the name via some, script of the kanji and what have you. But also then it being something that actually reaches, and I don't know. I felt like that was just a really perfect thing in that in the previous episode during the discussion, we theorized that something like this would be how it would have to be done.
Yeah.
And thus the specifics are not really important. It was the fact that it did end up being something along the lines of her being his most trusted follower, the one that believed in him the most through all this, and is a human.
Yep.
It all just it fits really well.
It fits really well with the story mechanics, because we've seen entities get called by their name and get summoned, right? The idea of, I mean, theoretically it could be done to a god. I don't know who would actually do that, but so it's like that tracks, right?
Yeah.
And then for the characters and their growths and their journeys and all that stuff, and of course. And even though it didn't end up being something where Hiyori could actually just call Yato and make that name work,
right?
The whole bit where she was talking about, no, when I gave him that shrine, the way he cried, no, whatever name was on that shrine, that means that's the right name because, you know, he doesn't have a there's no way he would have a reaction to something like that otherwise.
Yeah.
Damn it, his name is Yato. And I love that it wasn't something where, like, because I feel like the reason that Yato would keep that name from them totally makes sense, right? He's wanting to be someone else now. He's Yato, right? Not Yaboku, or Yaboku, right?
Yeah, Yaboku. Yeah.
Yaboku, yeah. They still called him Yato after they got him back.
Of course.
Because you are Yato to them, right?
Yeah, that's the name you chose, too.
Yep. And Nora didn't go back with you. At least I don't think so.
I want to basically go back to the spot. I will just in a second here. But there's a very clear, like, quick frame or three
where he
letting
go
of the blade handle, but the sword handle.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that makes me not quite sure about that is the fact that then the lady of the underworld was like, "I'm all alone again," and it's like,
I think that's because she doesn't necessarily care.
She doesn't count regalia. Yeah, I could see that.
It might have something to do with the fact that they're already dead.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Sure.
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
Yeah,
but,
and then there's also the possibility that, like, we'll see in, you know, the next episode, or if season 3 ever comes, where, like, you know, Nora's dad somehow was aware of what was going on and was just like, okay, yeah, or very quickly was like, all right, you know, and not Hiro, but whatever name, you know, he had for her, I'm assuming, right? Assuming that he was the original owner, whatever. The point is, you know, and then that's how she got out of there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But,
this was a great episode.
It felt really good to have everything just suddenly work out in a way as well, because we have had a lot of things where
just
the story has
just
not worked out for our protagonists. And like the many times that they nearly got away from Izanami, yeah. And yet, no, they were in her domain, so it's really difficult to get out. This being a thing where HIYORI, being the soul of the story, then was also the one that was able to do the thing at this big moment here, when she hasn't had as much to do really in the story. I thought was rather awesome as well.
It also brings up some more mechanics of how HIYORI can contribute to the conflicts of the practical, you know, danger conflicts of the story. Because having the tail and her karate moves and all that stuff or whatever, that's cool and all, but not exactly helpful lately. So having things where it's like, no, what is the dynamic between a fervent believer of a god and what influence does that have? Right? Because it gives the god power, so theoretically...
She's Yato's herald, basically.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I want to bring up something, though. I'm trying to remember what his name was, but Tenjin, I believe, the god that was with all the regalia and stuff. He made a point, though, about how Yato is already really connected to the near shore, and that his time with HIYORI was something that could negatively affect her, but also potentially maybe it goes both ways as well. So I wonder if Ebisu kind of casually bringing up the idea that what happened here would bind Yato to the near shore, and that was the verbiage that he said. What if there's some potential like long-lasting consequences that he's like, yeah, we'll deal with that once we're safe,
right?
But something happened here beyond just you got him out of the underworld, and I'm really curious as to what that could potentially be. And one of the things that I think it could be potentially is that Yato will be a little bit more physically present. And thus maybe I don't think they'll do anything this dramatic. But something that might separate him a little bit from what it is to be a god. And I don't know. That just seems like something that seems too casual to bring up of a bind you to the near shore. I can bring up the part where he says that, but
no, yeah, I remember him saying that, and that was something that I wondered about too.
Yeah, it just seemed so like, oh wait, are you just gonna explain what that means?
What I was thinking it would be if HIYORI ended up actually succeeding with the name of Yato, is that would basically permanently kind of change Yato's name, so that now the other names or whatever that he had in the past don't really help him have any ties to him, and it could be a positive and a negative. But then also maybe he would be bound to like HIYORI's belief or the shrine that she gave him or something like that, because now Yato is the only name he had, but that wasn't what ended up happening.
Yeah, I can't find it. It's somewhere
Yeah.
in the beginning. But the other thing, I guess, that's potentially a really big deal is that with Bishamon doing this and having this kind of power with Kazuma, there's a real possibility that we're just going to end up having the alliance of gods and regalia that are standing against heaven.
Yep.
Because I'm guessing the idea of the pacification ring being something that you dodge or you block or something like that, that's already going to put Yato on the shit list, basically, for the heavens. But Bishamon seemed like the kind of one where they were like, well, no, you've done some things that are not necessarily as friendly to heavens, with the whole house arrest thing being subverted by Kazuma. By this point, it might be the, no, you're on the outs, and we're going to send a group to your house with all your other regalia, and you're going to need to defend your people, because if this is something they can just bring up here, they might not just excuse everything because they get Ebisu here.
Right. One of the things that I was kind of curious about, if this show does move into sort of the, ragtag band rebelling against the big corrupt organization, basically, is that Yato and Kofuku, they are both kind of on the outs gods, right? They like Kofuku.
They're kind of in hiding.
They're kind of in hiding.
In
Like Kofuku
sight,
still goes up into heaven and hangs out up there, but they kind of have their own relegated separate things because they tend to cause trouble, right?
She's a god of poverty, pretending to be a god of fortune.
He's a god of calamity, right?
Yeah.
Bishamon is like one of the pinnacles of like official gods, like officially recognized, held in high regard, etc. Yes, she had some issues, this season, right? But I mean, she's Bishamon. Like, come on, like that's.
But yeah, at this point, she might have lost a lot of that reputation.
She might have lost a lot of that, and if she lost it, then that means she has more to lose because she previously had it, so she can lose it, right? But if she doesn't, then that's something that could theoretically lay some legitimacy to the claims of Yato and everybody and Ebisu being like, no, this is actually messed up because since heaven is kind of an echo chamber of sorts with the anonymity for the people that doing this and all that stuff, where do you get the accountability? If you have someone that is held in high esteem that's basically saying, no,
I'll speak out.
I will speak out and I will actively oppose this because this is wrong, then they could actually have hopes of gaining followers, right?
They could gain followers, but they could also then have a target.
Yes.
It's very easy for them to identify.
Right, because heaven might not be as united. When, one god in the, whatever things is like, all right, we must do this. Other gods might be like, hold on now. I mean, Ebisu, sure. Yeah, we don't really care too much about him. He's doing stuff with Norse. Yeah, why not, right? But
yeah, he was opening vents and causing, phantoms to be turned into regalia of sorts,
Needs to be dealt with, sure.
Yeah, we gotta,
But wait, Bishamon actually...
Bishamon, come now. You had a little momentary lapse of insanity.
Right, lapse of judgment, temporary insanity, whatever you want to call it, but clearly she's not actually siding with this guy, right?
But they could literally send, the whole group and be like, no, we're going to force a replacement.
Yep, and I would not be surprised if that happened, but then that could be something where then if that does happen, then some of the other gods might be like, I'm a bit nervous about my own position, actually. Now, I want to make sure I don't do anything to piss off whoever are the gods anonymously that are causing this to happen. But...
yeah, it's basically the kinds of things that could stoke a revolution of sorts, which is really exciting story-wise, but it is also quite terrifying for our regular, protagonists who enjoy very quiet, comfy lives at times because they get to just kind of live together and have a good time.
Yep.
But if, like they were saying earlier, I think it was Ebisu saying they're able to bring the pacification, thing here, but they're willing to bring the humans into this, meaning that this is something that isn't being dealt with quietly and quickly. It's no, we're going to use a blunt force object to just
we're going to orbitally bombard the human world because you happen to be there. Yeah.
Right. We don't care about any consequences regarding that.
And thankfully this was in a forest, but I get the feeling if they're doing this, they might have still decided to do that if they were in a suburban area.
Yeah.
Just who knows? This might be a popular hiking spot. There might be trails around here. Who knows, right?
Even just the animals that were probably wiped out just in that thing there.
Yeah, I'm guessing the humans would be a bit surprised when all of a sudden there's 2 craters in,
We come up with pretty decent explanations pretty quickly to make it all just fit so we don't freak out or anything. We're like, some tiny little meteorites came in through our atmosphere and probably hit there. That kind of stuff happens. Someone was messing around with explosives and...
Who knows?
Who knows? But okay, guys, next episode's the finale. Thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
Yes, we stream every weekday. Info is in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see it there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.